Stand by. The program will begin soon.
There's an example yesterday I saw of this woman who's been here. I mean, we might even play this clip. She's been here 20 years. She has 3 kids who were born here. Her kids are because of birthright citizenship, which is another subject that's coming up. And she never bothered to even try to resolve her immigration status. Not in 20 years. She has never tried to resolve her immigration status. Not through Republican presidents, not through Democratic presidents, nothing. And so now, she's worried about being deported because they put out the sob story of this woman. Well, that's not the average person they're even looking at right now. The average person they're looking at, crossed in the last 3 years, are CNN is cutting jobs to embrace the digital future. No, because they're cutting jobs because, as I like to say, they suck. CNN is undergoing significant restructuring, planning to lay off about 200 employees, which constitutes approximately 6% of its workforce. This move is part of a broader strategy under CEO Mark Thompson to pivot towards a digital-first approach, focusing on expanding digital subscriptions and reducing costs from traditional TV operations. Wait a minute. Didn't they already try the CNN subscription service, which failed miserably? Which, if you truly have compassion for trans kids, you would allow them to all go through puberty, because 90% of kids who think they're trans change their mind once they go through puberty. That puberty is the fix for most of the problems. But you guys want the medicalization of kids and sterilization of kids and medical and surgical altering of kids who can't make that decision at 12 years old or 13 years old. Why is it when I try to show empathy and concern, people always misconstrue it? Last time I asked someone if their mom at least got a good check from the clinic that botched the abortion. Oh! Oh, God. Damn it, AD. I think you just need to find a gentle way.
Stand by. The program will begin soon.
I would be willing to bet everything I own that submitting a 22-minute video montage that shows the most egregious acts of violence you can find from that day, when the defendant in question is on that video for only 6 seconds and is seen walking calmly, is highly prejudicial and a violation of the defendant's due process rights. The person was found guilty and sentenced to 19 months in prison. Now, it took 2 hours to read through all of the documents that were in the case file. Every motion submitted by the defendant was denied. Every motion by the defendant was denied. How often does that happen? And every motion submitted by the government was granted. They turned a trespass misdemeanor that would have resulted in a $50 ticket into 5 misdemeanors and a felony charge by charging the defendant with a statute that would have required the Secret Service to rope off the section he was in, which they did not. They also charged him with a statute that would have required them to prove Mike Pence was in the building at the time he walked through that corridor. He was not. And they used an Enron statute that the Supreme Court struck down. If you accept a pardon, you are admitting guilt. Period. That's the, because you can't be pardoned if you're not guilty.
Whether he can whether he can issue. The president's reportedly asking his staff whether he can issue preemptive pardons for himself, his family members, Rudy Giuliani. There's a simple answer: no. No, Mr.
Oh,
that
you
would
can't?
Be a gross abuse
Oh,
of the presidential
it's a
pardon authority.
gross abuse of presidential pardon authority. Well, there you go. You accepted a pardon, Adam Kinzinger. You think you may have committed a crime. Oh, here, Jamie Raskin. Dirty Q-tip. Dirty Q-tip, Jamie Raskin. What else? What did he have to say?
Well, the seeking of pardons
Yes,
is
it's
a
only on
powerful
one side.
demonstration of the consciousness of guilt, or at least the consciousness that you may be in trouble.
Jamie
And that's
Raskin.
what's so shocking
Did he get a
about
pardon
this.
also? Wasn't he on
Well,
that committee?
The seeking of pardons is...
He was on that committee. I'm curious if you're going to condemn that part. Are you going to condemn that pardon?
Joe Biden pardoned a lot of people. Yeah, he should answer for that and explain.
Lots of murderers, lots of drug dealers, lots of people who killed people, commuted the sentence of a couple murderers. One drug dealer who people died from taking the drugs that they sold them.
Stand by. The program will begin soon.
The Obama Aniston rumors have gone wild. Rumors have emerged on social media that suggest Barack and Michelle Obama might be heading towards divorce, with speculators linking Barack Obama to actress Jennifer Aniston. Those rumors have gained traction following Michelle Obama's absence from Jimmy Carter's funeral and the inauguration, and are based on tabloid stories and social media speculation without solid confirmation from the individuals involved. So far, they're still rumors, and I don't know why people are perpetuating them, but it is kind of fun to perpetuate rumors like that. No one's come out to, out and out deny anything. That's the weird part.
We should just take a deep breath and acknowledge the audacity.
The audacity!
Of a president who's so clearly concerned about his own criminal culpability.
Oh my God, his own criminal culpability and his son's business dealings. I know that they're talking about Joe Biden, aren't they?
And that of his family members.
Like the boy asked, are cats really soul suckers? Yes. Yes. That's why I'm not into cats. Dogs, man. I'm a dog guy. Hypocrisy, Diablo, is there an aisle in the grocery store that is less objectionable to have sex in? Where do you come up with this shit? Dude.
Has done something no person in the world has ever done before. A dead man, a dead politician has risen.
Yes.
Somebody who 4 years ago at Davos, he's buried, a dead.
And I wonder how many people at Davos have been funding Donald Trump's demise. That has failed. I wonder how many people at Davos, again, let me say it again. I wonder how many people at Davos have been funding what they had hoped would be Trump's demise. I bet you there's a few of them there. And it didn't work, did it now? Didn't work now, did it?
Politically known to me. He's now returned. This is the greatest comeback in political history of a politician. And then, therefore, he thinks he can do anything.
At the end of the show, every day on my show, if I put something on the screen or I'm talking about it, or it's a topic or an article that I'm presenting in this show, I provide links to every single thing that I've talked about and even more, the ones I didn't even get to, I dropped them in the chat at the end of the show, and also I dropped them in the description. So if you want to find these articles, they will be in the links at the end of the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only Dawg Knight.
Well, I would have been here about a half hour without the technical difficulties, but I can stop making excuses now. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as Dawg Knight on the internet. And welcome back to the Dawg Knight Channel on this Tuesday, the 11th of February, 2025. Today, I just got a bunch of, random stuff. Well, everything's random every day because you never know what's going to be trending in the news. And we're going to get through the trending topics as fast as we can, get to this thing, and then try to get to a few articles. We'll see where we get. But we'll get as far as we can. If I don't get to it, I'll still put all the stuff in the links at the end of the show, in the chat, and in the description of this stream/video. So let's say good morning and get it going. Since I'm late, I just got to get the thing moving. First, the chat today, Mr. Gunfox61 gets the bell, and that didn't work. What the hell? What's going on? Why didn't that? Okay, let's try that again. Wow, that is really quiet. Because it's not plugged in. No wonder. Everything's going wrong. Here, now you get the bell. There you go. All right. Thanks. For those who are here, you just know how this goes sometimes. Also, good morning, Avocados Diabli. And Tyre Alexander, the Scourge. Also, good morning, Midnight in Exile. I'm not BPT today. Yeah, I'm on Black People time. Also, Ms. Wild Wolf, Kara Soldiers in the house. Special Can Acid on the honorable mention list of my favorite Canadians. Also, good morning, Green Badger Outdoors. Amazing Disgrace is in the house. And JB K-Shaw, what up, Kristen? Attack Alpaca. Did I say Kirsten or Kirsten? Did I say your name right? I bet I did. I know it's on X. I'll get it right one of these. Anyway, Reaction Puerto Rico. Attack Alpaca. Not 1, 2, 3. And that's everybody so far. So if share the stream if you can. I know there's a few more people here, but you haven't said anything in the chat yet. But also hit the like button while you're thinking about it, because let's just get that out of the way so you don't have to remember. So, and Somnambule Nation's in the house. Also, thanks to everyone who tweeted out the show. I didn't give you the link today, but some of you have been diligent on your own, and I appreciate it. Somnambule Nation tweeted out the show even before I did, because I wasn't quite there yet. And let's see here. Thank you, Somnambule Nation, with the Let's Go. You may proceed. Is that from Bewitched? Is that one of the, or is that, no, that's from Star Trek. Anyway, also, and then got the Blagojevich pardon. We'll talk about that in a second too. I didn't know about this, so we'll get to that. Also, thank you, Green Badger Outdoors, Reaction Puerto Rico, Mrs. Wild Wolf, and CG and Reaction on Puerto Rico, Amazing Disgrace, and Somnambule Nation retweeted the show, and also CG did me Let's Go. So if you're following me on X, the app formerly known as Twitter, it's at Dawg Knight, just like everything else I do. You can follow me there, and then I don't have to put the link in the chat anymore. So there you go. All right. Shall we get into it? Let's get into the show a little bit. Now, I'm going to pull this up because Donald Trump is apparently now pardoned ex-governor Rod Blagojevich. By the way, I don't have any birthdays or special day today. I just don't have time, so we're skipping it. President Trump. Now, it's interesting because notice how BBC News adds the disgraced in here. Pardon, disgraced ex-Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich. President Donald Trump has pardoned former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich, a Democrat who served 8 years in prison over corruption charges before it was cut short by Trump during his first term. Blagojevich, now 68, was sentenced to 14 years in prison on a wide variety of corruption charges, including extortion related to state funds for a children's hospital and for trying to sell Barack Obama's vacated U.S. Senate seat in 2008. The former governor was removed from office in 2009 and began serving his prison sentence in 2012 before a spectacular... I'm kind of surprised Obama didn't pardon him. Good morning, Aaron Meredith and GDSB, by the way. Before his spectacular downfall, Blagojevich appeared on Trump's Celebrity Apprentice reality TV show where the now president fired him. In 2008, when Blagojevich was responsible as a state governor for naming someone to fill the Senate seat of Obama, he told another official that he planned to sell or trade the golden seat. You know, I wonder, was he really trying to get money for it? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. That's pretty bad though if he was. And it's a Democrat scandal, but apparently Trump has become friends with Blagojevich, and Blagojevich, to be honest, has been fairly supportive of Donald Trump in his endeavors also. So, you know, the power of the pardon is unlimited, and he already commuted the sentence. I guess he decided to pardon him too. Don't know why. Moving on, Super Bowl is still trending. People are still talking about the Super Bowl like crazy. And, gosh, I wanted to show you. So a lot of it's about Kendrick Lamar and all this other stuff. Here, wait, let me get past the Super Bowl stuff here. I just realized I have all these Super Bowl related topics, and don't have this in order. Okay, we're going to move this way over here so I don't accidentally... No, not there. Not there. Sorry, this is just there we go, some filler time. Anyway, so the Super Bowl is still trending for many different reasons. And I'm not going to go too deep into these at all because it's just, you know, if the Super Bowl's over, why are people still talking about it so much? But apparently the Kendrick Lamar performance is a huge topic on X, the app formerly known as Twitter. Now, I finally watched the whole thing, and if you are a fan of Kendrick Lamar, you would probably liked it. But if you're not, you're probably like, okay, it's interesting. The dances are pretty good. Things are going on. But it's, you know, it's fairly, what's the word for it? Mid? Is that the new term? It's fairly mid, as in mid. It wasn't great. And plus, if you don't, look, I've seen a lot of people trying to interpret what the performance meant. And if you have to spend 2 days interpreting what the performance meant, it probably didn't work so well because it didn't come off the way it was supposed to. And granted, it was, well, anyway, that's enough about that. So anyway, the Super Bowl is still trending. And one of the funny things, though, is people are talking about the Super Bowl ads, right? But I'm going to just show you what would have been perhaps the greatest Super Bowl ad or a series of Super Bowl ads ever. Okay. But we're not Super Bowl ads. They should have been Super Bowl ads, but they're not Super Bowl ads. And this is from apparently a sign company, a guy who makes signs for a living, and he does advertising for signs. And I want you to prepare yourself before I flip this over because you're going to be a little bit taken aback by the beginning of the video because well, you'll see why. I'm giving you fair warning what's going to happen here. So here we go. Just gird your loins because I'm not going to hit play first because I want you to take it in for a second first. Okay, random Americans in the house. How you doing? Nice to have you here. And Aaron Meredith, good morning. Anyone else? I'm checking here. Nope, that's it. Okay, you're going to be taken aback for a moment, but please do not change the channel. Okay, ready? Here we go. We're going to savor this image just for a moment. You okay? You with me? Okay, this is just a series of ads. They're not the complete ads. It's just a series of these ads, and you'll see what happens. Okay, here we go. Ready? Oh, wait, where's my... No, don't do that. There we go. Okay, here we go. Ready? Here we go.
Hello. Goodbye. Anyways, if you want to start a business on a budget, make sure you go to the Source Factory.
Hi, friends. Today we're talking about something super cool called pronouns.
Not interested, sir. Anyways, here's how to tell if your sign is cheap.
Like, I'm a trans man and I'm gay and I have been...
So you're straight. Anyways, watch me put it down like this. The design is very human.
So I got served today at the pharmacy and,
Sir, here's how to tell if your LED sign is cheap, sir.
You're a fake ally, you're a fake liberal, you're a hypocrite, and I feel sorry for your trans friends. I feel sorry for your trans friends.
I don't have any trans friends. Anyways, here's how to tell if your LED sign is cheap.
Little one asked me, Mommy, what's a girl? Mommy, what's a boy? What makes somebody a girl? What makes somebody a boy? Baby, I'm a they, them. I have no idea.
If you have a penis, you're a boy. Anyways, here's how to tell if your sign is cheap.
So anyway, this goes on and on and on. I feel bad laughing. Well, no, I don't. I don't give a shit. Anyway, let's move on. Enough of that. There's more, but I'm going to keep going. All right, here's, let's see what else is going on. Oh, by the way, people, and maybe you know my thoughts on this, but there's a new term, not a new term, but we talked about before, called the woke right, right? The woke right. And it's people who take something and blow it out of proportion like crazy. And I'm not a, look, well, I'm going to give you an example because I saw this post on X and I had to respond to it. And this is an example, if you want to understand what the term woke right means, this right here. So this is related to the Super Bowl too. So this guy, Dominic Michael Trippier, and this is a typical post that I've seen on X from a lot of the, right-wing influencers, right? This guy says hundreds of dancers and participants in this halftime show, and they can't manage to feature one single white person? This is pathetic. Now, this is related to the Super Bowl. And my first thought was, now look, if perchance this were the other way around. For example, if it was Coldplay and someone said, "Oh, you couldn't put any black people on," someone would be saying, "Oh, that's just woke shit." When you look, if you are constantly talking about race on the left, we think of that as some woke shit, some dumb shit, right? But we also tend to do it on the right. And so this person saying, well, look, the artist is Kendrick Lamar, okay? He's a dude from Compton, and most of the people in his crew and everyone on the stage mostly was from Compton. And that was the halftime show. And if you're complaining that there's no white people in the halftime show, you're kind of doing the same thing the left are doing. Oh my God, you didn't have any black people there? Oh my gosh, you didn't have any white people? Who gives a shit? It's the Super Bowl. It's entertainment. Nobody cares. And my thought was when he says, you couldn't feature a single white person, this is pathetic. And I thought, wait a minute. Is it required? Are you demanding DEI now? We got to be consistent on this. I don't like DEI because I think it's counterproductive, and it also is starting at the wrong point. When they start talking DEI and you're talking about admissions to college and jobs and things, you're starting at the wrong point. I say this all the time. You're starting way at the wrong point of your way trying to get diversity and inclusion. Because for equity, I don't give a fuck about. Equity is a stupid concept. There's no such thing as equity. Everyone's not gonna have the same fucking outcomes. But the diversity and inclusion, you're starting at the wrong damn point. You got to start when they're children and education all the way up through to the time where they might be applying for colleges. That's where you will naturally get diversity. If everyone gets educated, then everyone's going to have the same opportunities. Or if you at least, or at least not even the same opportunities, but opportunities that they desire. You cannot create equity between various demographic groups. You cannot create equity between various demographic groups. That is impossible because not everybody has the same desires, dreams, or whatever. You don't like DEI because you can read above a third grade level. I'm not sure what that means. They aren't coming from the right. They're from the left by people wearing skin suits. Okay. But anyway, so anytime I see it, look, and also I think people on the right are taking the term DEI hire too far too. Just because someone happens to be black or a woman or whatever, it doesn't automatically mean they were DEI hire or were not proficient in their job. And so it bothers me. Oh, I see what you're saying. You're conflicting my intent. Okay, got it. So it's like the right's got to stop doing it too, because we're starting to act like the left in some of these instances. So I brought that up because for some reason, 4,800 people liked my reply. Is it required? Is it required? Are you demanding DEI too? Does everybody need DEI to get ahead? Look, everyone's whatever. You know what I'm saying. Okay, that isn't woke right thing because woke right isn't a thing. Well, here's my point. When the right makes everything about race, even though it's not woke, the reason I say woke right is because they're starting to act like the left, making everything about grievances. You know, to me, the woke right, or just the woke, is about grievances. And so the right's starting to sound like that too. So that's my point. So anyway, that's it. That's all I have to say about that. Thank you, Hypocrisy. First sponsor today, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you, Hypocrisy. Put a small bullet in a tip jar. Says this is reminiscent of Falwell and his damn moral majority. Hated it then, hated it. Yes, that's a great example. That's a great example. Pushing it's kind of a, I don't know, it's pushing an ideology, something like that. So it's just, I just want people to just live their fucking lives. So anyway, all right, that's enough about that. Moving on. So all these Super Bowl topics, and I'm not going to spend much time on these. Kendrick Lamar is obviously trending because of his show. Also Drake, because that They're Not Like Us was a diss of Drake, apparently. And poor Drake, just like now he sees the song played at the Super Bowl, even though he took out the line about pedophile. And also because of this, I'm not going to go through. Patrick Mahomes is trending. By the way, this is interesting. Someone posted on this Patrick Mahomes thing. So social media's dumbass coverage of the Super Bowl. This guy says, Pat Mahomes plays like shit. Everybody blames everybody else but him. Jalen Hurts plays awesome. Everybody gives the credit to everybody but him. No, Jalen Hurts played a really good game. Patrick Mahomes had his problem. I think he had a concussion. There was a play early in the game where he hit his head on the carpet really hard, and I think he just kept playing through it and tried to shake it off, whatever. And I think that might have helped, but it's him. And then Jalen Hurts is trending. Philly is trending. I'm not going to even go through these. Serena Williams is trending. Now, this is an interesting topic about Serena Williams. So Serena Williams, during that halftime show, was in the Kendrick Lamar set and apparently shown crip walking. Now, if you don't know what crip walking is, it's a type of dance that popularized in Compton, California by the Crips. I don't know how to make the C's. And the reason people are a little bit raising eyebrows about that is because Serena Williams had a sister who was killed in a gang-related drive-by shooting by the Crips. So some people were kind of criticizing her for for crip walking during the show. So that is kind of irony. Some people were like, some of y'all have no idea how criticized Serena was for doing the same dance at Wimbledon 13 years ago, and it shows. This is bigger than music. Anyway, but she's from Compton, and so that's a popular dance in Compton, whatever. But that's fascinating. That's fascinating. All right, we're going to get into some news now. First, though, thank you, Avocado Stable. Another small bowl of the tip jar says, are you just going to sit there and take Kendrick dissing your alma mater like that? That's funny. That's good. Thank you for sponsoring the show. Yeah, no, we're talking about Drake, the rapper dude, not the place where I went to school. But thank you for recognizing that is my alma mater, Drake University. All right, what else has got here? Oh, by the way, did you know Donald Trump's approval rating is way up? This is great. Here's from Legal Insurrection. CBS News poll shows overwhelming positive approval of Donald Trump. Face the Nation revealed that the results of the show the results show that 53% of those polled approve of Donald Trump's performance in the first few weeks. That's his highest approval rating of any time during either of his presidencies. Also, people describe Donald Trump as tough, 69%, energetic, 63%, focused, 60%, effective, 58%. And this is not a Fox News poll either. It's CBS. Face the Nation revealed the results of that 53% of those polled approved of President Donald Trump's performance in the first few weeks. Man, oh man, you know that had to kill host Margaret Brennan to discuss this poll and look at these numbers. Do they have her on here? Do they have the video of her talking about it? How long is this video? Let's see. Hang on a second. We might have to play this. Oh, well, that ain't happened. There we go. Oh,
we begin today with our first assessment.
Let's do this. Let's watch this because I like to see her face as they're talking about this. This has got to be glorious because, you know, Margaret Brennan is no fan of Donald John Trump.
Of how President Trump and his policies are doing just 3 weeks into his second term.
Look at
our CBS poll finds.
Now, I know she's just reading the news, but she has a dour look on her face already, doesn't she? Doesn't she? Did you see that? Here, I'm going to go back just a second here. Here we go.
Our CBS poll finds that a majority of Americans, 53%.
You know what? Let me put this on YouTube because otherwise
53% approve of the job he's doing. That's a better approval number than he ever reached during his first term in the White House.
Oh, that's got to kill you, Margaret.
With more is
that's
got
to kill you.
Director of Elections and Surveys, Anthony Salvanto. Good to see you, Anthony. What's driving this?
I will keep it simple, Margaret.
He had to smile to be. Look at that. Wait, watch this. When she announced him, they have him smile so that when he comes on the screen, he's smiling, but then his demeanor changes almost immediately. Watch this.
Director of Elections and Surveys, Anthony
Fake smile.
Salvanto. Good to see you, Anthony.
Not so happy.
What's driving this?
I will keep it simple, Margaret. He is doing, in the eyes of the public, what he said he would do.
Damn right he is.
There's political value in that. In fact, 70% of people say he's doing what he promised.
What he did.
That's whether they approve of him or not. Now, there's another part of this that continues over from the campaign. There were words that he was described as being tough, being energetic.
Yes.
And he still is today in big majority numbers. So as people take a look in these first few weeks, there's been a lot of activity. They're getting that general sense of governance, and that's being reflected in these.
Now, what's really interesting, what have Democrats been doing since Trump has been president? They have been screaming that we're at the end of the world. Democracy is being subverted. We are, everything's bad. Everything's dead. Dogs and cats sleeping together. Everything is a calamity. Everything is a crisis. Everything is a constitutional crisis. It's a crisis, crisis, crisis. That's all they're saying. And yet, Donald Trump's approval rating is the best it's ever been. Fascinating. Hello, Don O'Leary.
These early numbers.
So that's perception. What about the actual policies?
So that's perception, but what about the actual policies? Interesting question there, Margaret. Because you mad.
Let's start with the ones that are popular. And again, these echo a lot of what we saw in the campaign.
Popular.
The idea of deporting those in the country illegally. continues to be popular. We saw that in the campaign. Sending troops to the U.S.-Mexico border. Again, majority in favor. We'd seen that in the campaign. For his supporters in particular, the focus on ending DEI is popular. We had seen in the campaign, a lot of them thought those processes had gone too far. There are some other things in here that get more mixed reviews. I will add.
By Democrats.
The idea of the U.S. taking over Gaza is not seen as a good idea.
And I don't think he was serious about that, other than helping rebuild it. But I don't know. I don't know what he's thinking on that.
He floated at a press conference this past week.
He did, but it also gives you a little insight into how people are processing Donald Trump and what he does, because then for a lot of his supporters, they say, well, that's not really his goal. That's a negotiating tactic. Ding. And then on tariffs, those are not as popular. Those are things that majority, with the exception of the ones on China.
China is asshole.
Why?
People think it will raise prices. And that's important context here, too, because...
But will they, though? Or will it just force companies to move their operations back to the United States? Like, you know, it happened in the auto industry when Chrysler was going to move, or Stellantis, whatever the hell it's called. They were going to move stuff down to Mexico. Now Trump said, hey, if you move that to Mexico, we're going to put a big-ass tariff on those motherfuckers, and you won't be able to sell them here. They said, oh, you know what? We're gonna do that back in Detroit. And then Toyota, you know, they were going to put some tariffs on some trucks on Toyota, and Toyota decided to open up a plant in South Carolina. So will it raise prices, or will it just force more jobs in the United States? It's interesting to see. We'll find out.
Because people are still sensitive to price increases. A lot of them report the prices haven't gone down. Remember that Donald Trump...
Now, that's hilarious. Donald Trump has been in office 22 days. Prices haven't gone down. Oh, eggs are high. You see a lot of people bitching on X about the price of eggs, saying, well, Trump, price of eggs gone down, and they've gone up higher than ever, because, you know, they killed 100 million birds at the end of the Biden administration. But what's interesting, people are putting up, like, I've seen people post pictures of eggs at $12 a dozen and stuff like that. I just bought 18 eggs, pasture, pasture-raised grain, grass-fed chicken eggs, you know, the expensive brown ones, $5.97 for 18 eggs. And people are posting dozens for, I don't know where they're getting these pictures of a dozen eggs for $12. And someone said, oh, price of eggs are $15. Yeah, you're getting the designer eggs at Whole Foods that are, you know, brown, organic, you know, whatever. The ones I get at Sam's Club for $5.97, they're probably at Whole Foods in New York City, you probably pay $15. But I laugh because every time I see someone post about eggs, it's like, well, other people in other parts of the country are not spending cost or not paying that much for eggs. And look, eggs are highly regional product. You don't get, like, we don't get eggs from California and Minnesota. So if they killed a bunch of chickens in, say, you know, Northern California for this bird flu thing, because they're I don't know if you heard about this, but there was an official that is one of the people that kind of was on top of that, and some of the data she fudged, and so she's been kicked out of her job. But they've killed 100 million birds. And everyone talking about eggs. Yes, people are panic buying in some cities, kind of like toilet paper. Remember when you couldn't get toilet paper during COVID? Some people are panic buying eggs. It's like, hey, dummies, you'll have eggs. But anyway, so in Minnesota, eggs prices didn't go up that much. 18 farm raised are $12 on the East Coast in Massachusetts. So yeah, so it just kind of depends where you are. Because my 18 farm raised eggs here in Minnesota, the brown ones I just bought them yesterday, $5.97 for 18. So it's going to depend on where you are, how people are reacting. I'm sure all the Democrats are reacting to eggs because they're the one bitching about it. They're buying up eggs like toilet paper during COVID. They wiped out the TP section. I remember that. I'm glad I've got friends with egg layers. Yeah, there's a lot of people raising chickens these days Good morning, Shrapnel. Good morning, Ren. Oh, I said Ren American. You were already here. Renee and Mayette. Okay, I got it, buddy. Hey, thank you, Crusader Tire, sponsors the show. With 230 in the tip jar, says, yes, yet the wailing and gnashing of teeth continue. Feed me with your your fear shall make the God Emperor stronger. Deus Vult, let the American Crusades continue. Cope and seethe, bitches. Get fucked, commie cunt. Okay, there you go. That's beautiful. That's better poetry than Kendrick Lamar. Thank you, Ty Alexander. Okay, let's finish with this, dummy.
Trump won the election on inflation, and that was a big reason. And what we find
again, these motherfuckers got to remember, because they all say, well, prices haven't come down yet. It's been 22 days. He's been in office. Joe Biden fucked shit up for 4 years, and you're expecting him to fix things in 22 days? Shut the fuck up.
Now is 2/3 of people saying that they don't think the
Trump's focused on lowering price. It's been, look, he did some executive orders regarding energy, which you'll probably see the results in a few months. It takes time for those things to happen. Are prices going to come down? No, but is inflation going to come down? We hope so. Stop printing money and giving it to everyone around the world, and let's produce some shit here. How's that sound? And maybe we'll see some results. Anyway, let's see what's going on here.
Administration is focused enough on lowering prices, and that stands out as one of those big gaps when we talk about initial preferences, initial expectations, and what's getting delivered. That's certainly going to be something.
Well, that's interesting, because throughout the campaign, he was abundantly clear that tariffs were something he wanted to use, and we talked quite a lot about possible impact on inflation. I know you also polled on President Trump's work with Elon Musk and this so-called DOGE, Department of Government.
So-called? What do you mean so-called? What do you mean so-called, Margaret? It's called DOGE. Well, technically it's not. There's a name for the department that, you know, remember, they repurposed the department that Barack Obama created.
Efficiency.
Yeah.
We're all kind of learning what it is. What do people think of it?
Well, exactly on that point. We're all sort of learning this, so I think this will take a while to play out. Initially, you get very partisan responses on the role that Elon Musk should or should not play. You get a majority of Republicans saying you should have at least some influence, though it's more of the MAGA base that really wants him to have a lot, and a lot of Democrats in opposition.
Look, he campaigned with the band, told him what we're going to do, and he's doing everything he said he's going to do. Nobody should be surprised at all.
You know, part of this is, too, the broad goals of cutting spending, of cutting foreign aid, have things that have long been in the polling popular with Republicans. But in terms of the impact and approach, that may take a while for people to really see it play out.
How you do it, and we'll be talking about that ahead on the program. Anthony, thank you.
All right, so there you go. There's I'll put that'll be in the links today. Let's keep going though, because we got to get through some bunch of stuff. Gulf of Mexico. Speaking of things that Donald Trump's doing and this everything with Doge, Gulf of Mexico is trending, or should I say, the Gulf of America, America. Okay, so Gulf of Mexico training. Apparently, Google Maps. Oh, here it is. Let me show you the little thing here. Oops. Oh, wait, hang on. So Google Maps, apparently, since Donald Trump made some kind of proclamation about the Gulf of Mexico being the Gulf of America now, here's what you get when you pop on the Google Maps. Here it comes. Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America. That is not the Google Maps one. Hang on. That ain't it. Okay, enough of that. Let me come down here. Apparently, here it is on Google Maps. Apparently, you zoom into on Google Maps, it turns into Gulf. Apparently, it doesn't do it on Apple Maps. But anyway, so Trump. What are people saying here? DC Dorito. Google Maps has officially updated to the Gulf of America. I screen recorded this video showing it still labeled Gulf of Mexico, but when you zoom in, it changes to Gulf of America. Is this brilliant? Is it dumb? I think in a way it's dumb, but in another way it's brilliant if it's about the drilling, you know, what do they call it? Not ban. Well, drilling ban in the round American waters. So the Gulf of Mexico is named. And so if you name it the Gulf of America, then you don't have to worry about drilling in the Gulf of Mexico. So that's why that's trending. Let's see. Before I go on to the next one, thank you, Avocados Diablo. You are still the Streamlabs Superstar sponsor today. Dropping another small bullet in the tip jar. Who says, 80 says, Gulf of America actually works better seeing how it touches North, Central, and South America and not just Mexico. You're so correct. You're so correct. And so I'm surprised you didn't call it the Gulf of the United States. You know what I mean? It's Ninja Level trolling, P-Doc. Yes, it is. But good morning. Oh, Rick Ashbringer. Good morning. How you doing, sir? All right. Moving on. Harry Bowles is trending. Harry Balls, not to be confused with Big Balls, who's one of the Elon Musk dudes that are doing the Doge thing. The reason Harry Bowles is trending is because apparently Elon Musk changed his handle to Harry Bowles. Elon Musk changed his name to Harry Bowles as an epic troll. And so because it's funny, if you've been watching any of the news people lately having to talk about the guy that they kicked him off the team for a little while because he had some problematic posts on X and other social media. His screen name on there is Big Balls. Big Balls, BIGBALLS. And since none of the news media knows his actual name, everyone was referring to him as Big Balls. In fact, let me see if I can find that montage of Big Balls. Because let's see, let's go X. Let's just do a search on Big Balls. Now, I have to be very careful because you know how Twitter is. Big Balls. And I hope I don't get anything too weird just popping up that I can't put on the screen. Oh, thank God, no. Okay, here's let me find the here we go. Here it is. This is great. Western media having to cover Big Balls. It's so fucking childish. Here we go. Big balls, baby. Big balls.
Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with Musk and Big Balls.
Well, you know Anderson Cooper knows something about big balls. Sorry, that was so wrong. Hello, Selected Boy. Yeah, boy. I'm going to start this over just to hear Anderson Cooper say that again because it's hilarious.
Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with Musk and Big Balls.
Big balls.
Big Balls.
Big Balls, who work for Elon Musk's so-called Department of Government Efficiency, Doge.
In the one case of the Big
So-called.
Balls kid, a literal teenager.
Big Balls online. Big Balls here that Katie's talking about. A 19-year-old that goes by the username Big Balls. So that would be one way that we could refer to him.
Young computer whizzes, the aforementioned Big Balls.
Because who among us doesn't feel better about big balls in charge of American
Oh, wait a minute. But we know that Rachel Maddow does not know about Big Balls. Hello, and an MET2. I'll be back.
Control.
Thanks for joining us.
Anyway, so there you go. The montage of the media having to talk about Big Balls is glorious. All right, moving on. Let's see. Oh, by the way, other things happening with Doge. Doge canceled the National Institute of Health's plan for, wait for it, an Anthony Fauci museum. Oh my God. They were going to create an Anthony Fauci museum. What is it going to be? A museum of failure? The Elon Musk-led Department of Government Efficiency has overseen the cancellation of nearly $200 million in NIH contracts in just 2 days, including nixing plans for a taxpayer-funded multi-million-dollar Anthony Fauci museum. Holy fuck. In the past 48 hours, HHS canceled 62 contracts worth $182 million, Doge announced Friday, adding that these contracts were entirely for administrative expenses. None touched any health care programs. I swear to God, they get this barrel of millions of dollars and they spend it on whatever they want to. You know, I know Congress funds these different agencies in the United States governments, but the agencies themselves are the ones who decide what to do with the money. And so I can understand why you would think that you would, they say, oh, well, you can't take away things that Congress approved of. Congress doesn't approve what the agencies do with the money. The agencies decide what they're going to spend the money on sometimes, not always, but sometimes. And sometimes they spend it on bullshit. Just saying. So anyway, these contracts were entirely for administrative purposes, the ones that they canceled. None touched any healthcare programs. This included terminating the $168,000 contract for an Anthony Fauci exhibit at the National Institute of Health Museum. So it wasn't for a museum, but it was for an Anthony Fauci exhibit. The plan would have added a new section to the National Institute of Health's already existing museum in honor of the health expert who manipulated data and lied to the American. Okay, whatever. So anyway, they scrapped the plans for that. There you go. Thank you, Evan Goddess. I'll be another small bullet in the tip jar. Appreciate it. AD says in a super chat, whoops, it's not that sexy. Did you see the member of Doge that created a Substack with a $1,000 subscription price with nothing on it just to get journalists to pay him to try and dig up whatever dirt may have been on it? No, that's hilarious. That is hilarious. I'm going to read it again because I started hyperventilating in the middle of it. Did you see the member of Doge that created a Substack with a $1,000 subscription price with nothing on it just to get journalists to pay him to try and dig up whatever dirt it may have been on it? That is brilliant. That is brilliant. And what are they going to do? What are they going to do if they paid that subscription price? Let's say the BBC and New York Times and journalists paid that $1,000. What are they going to do? Are they going to ask for their money back? Why? You subscribe. There's no refunds, bitch. Suck it. Thank you, FKST. I did not see that one. Get it. Okay. Other things happening in the administration. Apparently Fort Bragg or what do they change the name to? Fort Victory or Fort Liberty. They're changing it back to Fort Bragg. Now, sort of. So Pete Hegseth has said that he is he's ordering the name of Fort Bragg to be changed back to Fort Bragg. Here's what he says here. Let me show you how it goes.
There it is. Pursuant to the authority of the Secretary of Defense, Title 10, United States Code, Section 113, I direct the Army to change the name of Fort Liberty, North Carolina to Fort Bragg, North Carolina. That's right. Bragg is back.
All right, now there's a little subtext to this though. So Biden spent $40 million to rename Fort Bragg to Fort Liberty for political correctness. Hegseth reserves it. Well, he didn't exactly reverse it. Now, here's what he did, because this is different. So, naming military base, this is someone named Josiah Lippincott. And I don't care if they changed the names of bases from the names of, Confederate generals or back, whatever. But here's maybe a reason some people might not think so. Naming military bases after Confederate generals was part of a national reconciliation after the Civil War. It was a gesture of magnanimity and victory designed to facilitate the forgetting of the causes and horror of the war for the sake of national reunification. Fort Bragg deserves a whole old name back. That national reconciliation was noble. We ought to be proud of it. Today, the push to reopen the wounds of war, to denounce the Confederacy Now, some 150 years later is nothing but pure communist agitprop. For the communists, the war against oppression is a total and eternal. There is no possibility of surrender with honor, no peace with oppressors. All wars must be total wars for the sake of the multiracial rainbow utopia. We should have no part in the left's cultural revolution. It needs to be ended, root and branch, blah, 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 blah. So what Pete Hegseth did, he didn't name it after the Confederate General Bragg. He changed it to he named it after a World War II veteran, Bragg. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth grew up in Minnesota. I didn't know he grew up in Minnesota, that fought for the Union, but he's clinging to Fort Bragg like it's family heirloom. Minnesota's fought for liberty. He didn't name it after that Bragg. He changed it to, here it is. Shortly before landing in Stuttgart, Germany, Secretary of Defense signed a memorandum renaming Fort Liberty in North Carolina to Fort Ronald L. Bragg, a World War II hero who earned the Silver Star and Purple Heart for his bravery during the Battle of the Bulge. So giving it its name back, but not for the same person. And someone says it's an amazing troll. Let's see what this says here. Pursuant to the authority of the Secretary of Defense, Title 10, United States Code, Section 113, I direct the Army to change the name Fort Liberty, North Carolina, to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, in honor of Private First Class Roland L. Bragg, who served with great distinction during World War II with the United States Army, and in recognition of the installation's storied history of service to the United States of America. Born in 1923, Sabatus, Maine, PFC Bragg entered the U.S. Army service and was assigned to the 513th Parachute Infantry Regiment, 17th Airborne Division, 18th Airborne Corps, and was stationed at Fort Bragg during World War I. PFC Bragg fought with distinction in the European theater of operations. He received a Silver Star for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity, and the Purple Heart for wounds sustained during the Battle of the Bulge. During these hellish conditions and amidst ferocious fighting, PFC Bragg saved fellow soldiers' lives by commandeering an enemy ambulance and driving it 20 miles to transport a fellow wounded warrior to an Allied hospital in Belgium. For nearly a century, under the designation of Camp Bragg and subsequently Fort Bragg, tens of thousands of soldiers trained and deployed to crisis and conflicts around the world in defense of our nation. Fort Bragg has a long and proud history of equipping and training and preparing our soldiers to fight and prevail in any operational environment. This directive honors the personal courage and selfless service of all those who have trained to fight and win our nation's war, including PFC Bragg, and is in keeping with the installation's esteemed and storied history. The Secretary of the Army shall take all steps necessary, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, he named it after a different Bragg, and so is it a troll or just wants to keep the name but not the possible stain of the Civil War thing here? So this person who is bitching about the fact that clinging to Fort Bragg, different Bragg here. In fact, here we go. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, as much as he crows that Bragg is back, it seems that they've craftily found a World War II private with the last name Bragg to purportly name the fort after, an obscure private that no one has ever heard of. Right, they're not fooling away. Well, he exists. He exists, and that's a very creative way to change the name of the fort back to what it was. So, I don't know. What do you think about that? Do you think that's good or bad? Do you agree that it might be... I don't know. The one guy said, that's, it's not in the spirit of the treaty after the Civil War, the whatever. I don't know. Let's see. He named it after Commander Mick Bragg from Underdog. Democrats like to hide the history of their party. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. All right, let's move on. Okay, I'm doing okay. I want to get... oh, good. The next topic is the main topic, talking about the Pope here. So, Vatican was trending, so is the Pope. And here's what happened. Oh, wait. Why are these articles out of order? Uh-oh. Hang on. What happened to my Pope articles? Okay, we'll do it from here. Never mind. So anyway, the Pope Francis, that Pope. Are there any other popes? Are there any other popes right now? Pope Francis issued an open letter to the U.S. Catholic bishops criticizing President Donald Trump's recent immigration enforcement efforts, specifically the policy of mass deportations. In his letter, the Pope refutes the notion that equates illegal immigration with criminality. That's interesting, because I don't know any country other than ours that doesn't consider the illegal immigration criminal, and that won't deport you for just being in their country illegally. And he says, urging instead for a response rooted in the parable of the Good Samaritan, emphasizing compassion and human dignity. Well, sending them back to their home would be compassion rather than putting them in gulags or a jail or some shit. I mean, that's compassion by sending them home. They could send them to, I don't know, China to be in chains with the Uyghurs or something. So anyway, now this communication follows his previous comments on similar issues, highlighting a consistent stance against policies he perceives as harmful to migrants' dignity. Now, what is fascinating about this? Do you realize that the Vatican has very, very strict immigration policies? And so, yeah, a lot of people are highlighting this letter. Pope sends a letter to U.S. bishops decrying mass deportations, rejecting any measure that tacitly, explicitly identifies the illegal status of some migrants with criminality. Well, look, first of all, they are focusing on the migrants who commit crime, but it is a crime to cross our border illegally, too. So the idea that it's criminal. Look, if you had a sudden mass of migrants from another part of the world attempting to immigrate or whatever to the Vatican would kick them out immediately. And so the hypocrisy, then again, and one of the things he said, the Pope said that Trump's deportation policies harm the dignity of migrants. Why? Why does it harm the dignity of migrants to deport them for breaking our laws? Now, this person says, we are deporting criminal aliens who have attacked our kids and families. One was stealing from our local church from the poor box. Imagine if we told you to house these folks at the Vatican. Your security would never allow it. Ding, 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 ding. Because the Vatican has very strict immigration policies. Writing from Europe, a region where many U.S. immigrants originate, Pope Francis issued a sharp condemnation of Trump's administration's mass deportation policy, warning that forcibly removing migrants solely based on their legal status strips them of their dignity and will end badly. How does it strip them of their dignity to send them back home? They don't just drop them in a rowboat in the ocean or the Gulf of America. They fly them back to their home. Go to your home. Go to your home. You know what movie I'm doing there? Go to your home. I don't understand it. It has nothing to do with their dignity. They broke our laws. I'm sorry. It's not very dignified to break another country's laws. So anyway, that's why the Vatican and the Pope's trading. In fact, right here, let me know when Pope Francis tears down the 40-foot walls around the Vatican City. Yeah, how about that? Catch me outside. Somebody here says, Jesse Kelly, I just visited the Vatican the first time last month. It was freezing while in line outside, there was a homeless man with no shoes or socks on begging right outside the Vatican gates. Then I walked through Vatican security. No more homeless people to be seen. Yeah, why aren't they taking in the homeless around the Vatican? Walk into the Vatican without proper authorization and see what happens to you. Here's the Vatican and about its wall. They have a wall.
In 850, Leo IV decides to build a wall around Vatican City to defend against invasions.
Against invasions? What do you mean invasions? You should have migrants going into the Vatican.
The wall rises 39 feet
39
high and
feet!
stretches 2 miles long with 3 fortified entrances.
Fortified entrances? My God, they must really hate migrants.
While the wall protects the Vatican from foreign attack, new threats are now coming from within the city of Rome.
Oh, from within the city of Rome.
Throughout the Middle Ages,
what could that be? What could be the dangers from inside the city of Rome to the Vatican? Are migrants that have been flooding into Italy also trying to get into the Vatican? I think the Vatican would be a great place to be homeless, because then you'd be, they would feed you. They're Catholics. They feed everybody. They will take in everybody, right?
Roman families compete for the throne of St. Peter. In 800.
Okay, so anyway, that's starting over. I'm not going to play any more of that. So, is hypocrisy yay or nay? Me says yay, and not like Yeezy yay. All right, let's. And speaking of immigration news, let's do a few of these. Apparently, a New York court has considered a law that would allow 800 non-citizens to vote. Really? Brilliant. A staggering 800,000 non-citizens could reportedly be voting soon in New York City elections, as the court is considering legislation this week that would allow them to register to vote ahead of the city elections. A top New York court is set to hear arguments regarding the matter on Tuesday, according to the report by Politico. This comes after an appellate court struck down Democrat efforts to permit non-citizens to vote last year. I'm pretty sure that there are a number of people in the city of New York who see this effort by Democrats to allow non-citizens to vote in the New York City elections, that their first reaction would probably be similar to this. Fuck that! Whose idea was this? Who thought of this idea? Unbelievable. In 5 city council districts, non-U.S. citizens make up about a third of the adult population. These New Yorkers pay billions in taxes and yet have no say in local policies on public safety, garbage collection, or housing, all matters that affect their day-to-day life. Okay, and go figure. Anyway, yeah, how about that? Also in immigration news, Doge says FEMA sent $59 million in payments last week to hotels in New York City to house illegal aliens. We talked about this yesterday. $59 million a week they're spending to house illegal immigrants, illegal aliens, illegal border crossers in New York City. I'm waiting for someone in Congress to propose a law too, where how when we do our census and we do apportionment in Congress by census numbers, and it's just whoever's here, they count, and that counts the population of your state and how they divvy up the number of congressional seats. I'm waiting for someone in Congress to propose a bill that amends the Constitution, or what? Not the Constitution. I don't even know how. That's not even part of the Constitution. That's just statute. That amends the statute. Oh, that's part of the Constitution too. Never mind. That illegal aliens and even foreign people would not count in your apportionment. That should be. Someone else suggests that, Aaron Meredith, use the voter registrations as a deportation list. Except you just don't know if they're going to. Well, yeah, because it'd have to be a special non-citizen voting. But the problem is not all people living in New York that are immigrants or non-citizens are illegal. Got to remember that. A lot of people, there's a ton of people live in New York that are there on work visas, student visas, whatever. And so they're proposing that you're able to vote even if you're not a U.S. citizen. And that wouldn't be just illegal aliens. So I don't know if you could use the voter registration as a deportation list. So anyway, yeah, 59 million a week. They're paying for illegal border crossers. Also in immigration news, California sheriff who faked a third Trump assassination story for attention says he will not support ICE deportation efforts. Top law enforcement officer, California's 4th largest county and the 10th largest in the United States, says his 4,000 strong staff will not assist in any federal immigration enforcement actions. In a video posted on social media, Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco states that his deputies and staff are not and will not engage in any type of immigration enforcement. In the video, Bianco claims that immigration enforcement is the sole purview of the federal law enforcement and that rumors of his office assisting U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement are incorrect. Despite Bianco's assertion, local law enforcement can and does assist federal agents during immigration actions. So let's see, how long is his video? It's probably too long. Yeah, I'm not doing 6 minutes of him. It's in the video is in the story. Also, apparently, judge has blocked Trump from sending 3 Venezuelans to Guantanamo. The U.S. District Court for the District of New Mexico issued a temporary restraining order on President Donald Trump's mission to send 3 Venezuelans to Guantanamo Bay due to the uncertainty over jurisdiction. Luis Eduardo Perez Parra, Leonel Jose Rivas Gonzalez, and Abraham Josua Barrios Morales filed the petition on Monday. The court wrote, considering the uncertainty surrounding jurisdiction, the court determines it is necessary to enjoin the transfer of petitioners to Guantanamo Bay. At this time, the court cannot say without this injunction it would not be jurisdictionally deprived to preside over the original writ of habeas corpus should petitioners be transferred. Thus, an injunction is necessary to achieve the ends of justice entrusted to this court. The court emphasized that this order is limited in scope to these 3 petitioners only because this matter was pending before the court long before any transfers began. The court also emphasized that there appears to be no prejudice to the government by this injunction to maintain the status quo pending the resolution of this matter. Moreover, there appears to be blah, 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 blah. You get it. So anyway, so here's what they do. Here's what they do. Okay, you're not gonna let send it to Guantanamo. Oh God, I was gonna say do a helicopter joke. I'm not going to. Just fly their asses back to Venezuela. Let the Venezuelan government deal with it. More immigration news. So now, by the way, border crossings since Donald Trump came into office down, I think 87%. One outlet said 95%. One outlet said 87%. That's a good thing. However, there was an interesting incident at the border. Border Patrol agents in Michigan arrested the leader of hitmen with the Gulf Cartel during an immigration enforcement action last week. Detroit Sector Chief Patrol Agent John Morris posted a report on X, the app formerly known as Twitter, revealing the arrest of Melquiades Salgado Garza. Morris described the illegal alien as the leader of hitmen to the Gulf Cartel. They found a hitman from the Gulf Cartel. What? Gulf Cartel leader arrested. The chief reported that Salgado's criminal history included charges for burglary, forgery, and immigration violations. Over the weekend, Chief Morris reported that agents assigned to the Sault Ste. Marie station apprehended a suspected member of the violent Tren de Aragua Venezuelan prison gang. So that's coming across the Canadian border. The cartel's flying people to Canada, send them down here now? What a difference a day makes, or a year makes. U.S. BP apprehensions decreased by 91% from the same 7-day period last year. The sharp decline reflects a real progress in securing our borders and enforcing our laws. So there you go. How about that? All right, what do I got here next? FEMA's trending, and this is all stuff having to do with the Trump administration. And but we already talked about this. FEMA is getting caught up on their fulfilling their duty in Western Carolina. Apparently 80% of those cases have been resolved now. Don't ever forget that FEMA kicked entire families out of their hotels into the ice and snow in Western North Carolina while giving $59 million to let illegal immigrants live in luxury hotels in New York City. Then they lied to us about it for months. Yeah, that's true. Someone here is, also, apparently the mainstream news is not covering this whole $59 million a week thing. CNN did not even cover the fact that $59 million from FEMA went to housing illegal immigrants in luxury hotels in New York City yesterday. Not one single article or news segment. How about that? So anyway, that's why that's trending. And then also CFPB, the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. This was Elizabeth Warren's baby in the Senate, and apparently the Musk team is calling for the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau remaining account balance of $711 million, $586,678. Let me try that again. $711,568,678 to be returned to the American taxpayers. So this one's a little contentious. The CFPB basically is this little independent agency that is supposed to help consumers with like bank fraud or bank stuff with what are they supposed to do? They so for example, here's what they did in a week. In just 1 week before Trump took power, CFPB ordered Equifax to pay $15 million, ordered a major auto lender to return $10 million to customers, ordered Cash App to refund $120 million to customers, sued Capital One for cheating people out of interest payments. This week it's closed. So, and then this right here, new CFPB employees were just abruptly informed that the watchdog agency's DC headquarters will be closed this week. The email obtained by CNN did not explain a reason for the sudden closure. This comes after Elon Musk tweeted out CFPB RIP with a tombstone emoji. Now, this is, again, I don't know why this particular agency exists because it's very redundant. For example, general reminder that consumer protection in the financial sector is upheld by several key agencies. FTC, General Consumer Protection. OCC, Federal Bank Supervision. FDIC, protects bank deposits, ensuring fair lending. NCUA, oversight of credit unions. SEC, enforcement of securities laws and regulations of financial markets. HUD, oversight of mortgage lending. FCC, addressing unfair internet practices. DOJ, protection against monopolistic practices. It's worth noting that the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau is not the sole entity responsible for consumer protection. The U.S. managed consumer protection effectively before the establishment of the CFPB in 2011. Moreover, it's important to consider that even with the CFPB, the global financial crisis might not have been prevented or mitigated. Thus, one could argue that the CFPB's role might be seen as somewhat duplicative or redundant in certain aspects. Yeah, we don't need that's what, 8 different agencies for consumer protections. But this was Elizabeth Warren's baby, so she's very concerned about this. And for some reason they have almost, they'd have over $700 million in their coffers. So, and the question is, can another agency do this work? Yeah, the more agencies you come up with, the more inefficiency you have. So there you go. That's interesting. So that links there. All right, we got a few more minutes here. Let's see. Oh, by the way, here's an article on this. Why is that way over there? That's weird. It's not even on the screen. Let's see. Let's try some here. It's not even, that's something wrong with the website. I thought it was me. Well, let's see if I can move it over. Here we go. And back down. That's even at 80%. That's so weird. I don't know why they have this set up this way, but here we go. So the CFPB employees ordered to halt work amid Trump's administration's continuing federal cost cutting. This Consumer Finance Protection Bureau has instructed 1,700 employees to refrain from working or coming to the office this week. The decision follows directives from Russ Vought, who recently became director of the White House Office of Management and Budget, and is also serving as acting director of the CFPB, which may not exist anymore, so you might not need one. Vaught's directive coincides with President Trump's broader plan to reduce the size and scope of the federal workforce through various actions, including a buyout offer that encourages government employees to voluntarily resign, and orders for nearly all United States Agency for International Development workers, USAID, to be put on leave. So there you go. You get an idea what it's about, but I'm going to move on here. Because judges are trending. Apparently there's a judge in one of the eastern districts that there's a couple judges halting some of the actions of the Trump administration. And we talked about how they did that at the end of Friday night. We talked about that. And so now there's a lot of people talking about that. I'm running out of time, though, so I just realized I am at the end of my line here. Let's just say that the Trump administration is going to be fighting this, and the judges that made some of these decisions probably are probably going to be overturned. Some of the comments here, though. Sean Davis, random federal judges in blue states' backwaters have no authority to unilaterally dictate who the president may talk to or what data he can access. John Roberts and the SCOTUS have two options here. They can bring these inferior malcontents to heel, or they can get used to the president simply ignoring these inferior courts or Congress eliminating them entirely. Congress created these inferior courts so that the Supreme Court wouldn't have to deal with every federal case itself. But if these rogue inferior judges are going to routinely issue lawless decisions that the Supreme Court has to deal with anyway, Congress would be well within its right just to eliminate them. Roberts and SCOTUS can immediately put these lawless judges in their place, and Roberts can watch his caseload go up by 1,000 times and his court's precious perceived legitimacy crater overnight. The age of tolerating this nonsense is over. Interesting way to take it. And then just a few articles I'm not going to get to, obviously. But there's an article here in the Daily Caller about how there's been dozens of near misses of planes and choppers in D.C. over the last several years. And the shock of this accident a couple weeks ago, which nobody's talking about anymore, which is interesting. It's been a problem for a while, and it was a carryover problem. It was an inherited problem. And so all those crazy idiots blaming Trump for a plane and helicopter crash, well, this is not new. Daily Wire, apparently Democrats are threatening to shut down the government to stop Trump from cutting government programs. Hey, you know what? Remember my idea. They should have 1 year entirely of Congress just repealing laws, but now Democrats are threatening to shut down the government. Hey, knock yourself out. Go ahead. We'd be devastated if you shut down the federal government. I just saying. Remember, and by the way, federal government shutdowns doesn't mean the government stops doing what they're supposed to do. For example, a lot of the payments that go out to people for entitlement payments and things like that don't get shut down when the government gets shut down. Non-essential things get shut down. And you know what? You have a few days, you save some money. I'm just saying. Also, by the way, apparently over 65,000 federal workers have accepted Trump's administration buyout effort, article in Breitbart. In the Federalist, there's a Minnesota school district that's trying to drive out a Trump-supporting teacher because the teacher shared a meme. This was the meme. The family, oh God, the family that is deported together stayed together. Oh, that's cold, man. That's cold. So they're trying to, and it was on his own personal social media, apparently. So you can read about that one. Also, the Federalist, Democrats have some basically attacks on Linda McMahon's education experience, claiming that because she's just, the one of the co-founders, whatever, owners of the WWE. Well, what they don't seem to realize is that McMahon was a member of the Connecticut's Board of Education. Like, she's been in this position just at a state level. And she serves on the Sacred Heart University's Board of Trustees and is its treasurer. So she does have some background in education. So there you go. They just hate Linda McMahon. I didn't put it on the screen. There we go. Basically tagging Linda McMahon's educational experience fall apart with a look at her record. So she's been in this position at the state level. New York Post has an article, Trump's DOJ tosses New York Mayor Eric Adams' historic bribery case, agrees with the Democrat that the charges were politically motivated by the Biden administration. This is big. The Justice Department decided to drop their case and ask the judge to do it without prejudice. So if they want to bring these charges at a later date, they can. But obviously the timing of this case against Eric Adams just so happened to coincide when he started criticizing the Biden administration for its immigration policies and all the damn illegal border crossings that they end up having in New York City. So for now, Mayor Adams is out of that hot water for a little bit. In the Daily Wire, a 76-year-old Democrat freezes during a speech on the House floor. I would play it, but it takes too long because he pulled a Mitch McConnell. Some of these old coots might need to retire. Let's just put it that way. He pulled a Mitch McConnell and froze for about a minute or so total. Or at least, well, look, let's put it this way. It took him about a minute and a half to get out about 8 words. He just and it goes on a lot longer than that. And finally, New York Post, Trump reveals he doesn't yet view J.D. Vance as a successor in 2028, but says nobody's very capable. That's under that Brett Baer interview, and a lot of people in the Democratic sphere of fuckery are mocking J.D. Vance for that. But that doesn't mean he won't be a successor. He just doesn't see it because he's not thinking about a successor 22 days into his presidency. Stupid people. Oh, there's a Daily Caller Wire. Senate GOP sets ambitious strategy to expand majority in the midterms. So they're talking about how they're going to try and gain some seats in the majority. It'll be interesting if the people see the Trump administration as doing what they like, and definitely he's doing what he said he would do. Can anyone argue with that? Is he doing exactly what he said he would do when he was running again for president? I think everything he's doing, why they're even surprised at this, maybe they're just surprised at the speed in which he's doing it. The media's like really caught off guard because it's just like one thing after another, and they're having a hard time keeping up. But he is doing what he said he was going to do. And that's what I liked about the first Trump presidency. Remember, I didn't vote for Trump in 2016 because I didn't really have any confidence that Donald Trump would do the things he said he was going to do. And silly me, he did, and I was impressed by it. Now, do I agree with everything he does, or do I agree with his personality and his quirks and his tweets and whatnot? No, but you know what? As I always say, Donald Trump is a jackass, but he's our jackass, and we need him. And the idea that they're actually going to go throughout the government and figure out where we're doing stupid shit and get rid of it, who fucking raw? Who fucking raw? Go for it. Try to keep it illegal so it can't be overturned. But knock that shit out. Let's go. All right. Here are today's links in the chat. That's it for today, guys. I got to go. Thanks for joining me. These links will also be in the description. I hope you all have a wonderful day, but it's time for me to go, so there you go. I am Dawg Knight, and I am out of here. Bye-bye. Have a great day. Hey, this is Dawg Knight, and thanks for watching today on the Dawg Knight Channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here.